amazing bio. I'm just going to read a little bit of it, but she's just an amazing person, truly beautiful on the inside and out. But she is a board certified neurologist. She's a 2-time Ironman triathlete. It's just amazing stuff. Ultra marathoner. She's married to a gastroenterologist, and I hear she's got 2 rock star teenage boys that are just amazing. So she's amazing. Her family's amazing, and she's just going to share this amazing science with us. So, Dr. Shawn McKee.
Thank you, April. I am very excited to share the science. Are you going to be controlling the slides from your end?
I am. You let me know when you want them switched.
Okay. Well, I would love to just briefly tell my story about how I came to be lucky enough to know about these 5 herbs. And that was about 8 years ago. I was really exhausted, and you know, that I knew that wasn't okay, right? It wasn't right for me as a busy mom, mid-40s, really, you know, early 40s, and you know, just with so many plates that I had to juggle, I could not be exhausted. And yet here I was like really falling asleep while my husband was telling me about his day on the couch, you know, at the end of the day. And in the morning, not popping out of bed. In fact, you know, it took my husband to come into the bedroom with a cup of coffee going, let's get up because the kids are going to be late to school. So, you know, he sweetly suggested I see this age management doctor because he was certain that I was low in, you know, some various things nutritionally. And so I went to see her, and he was right. I was low in thyroid, testosterone, magnesium, vitamin D3, all these wonderful things that I should have been addressing. And so she did that. She put me on a number of supplements. In fact, I had already been putting myself on supplements because I wanted to try to address, sorry about the reminders, wanted to address these, and I was reading about, you know, nutrition in sports medicine journals and whatnot. And so I put myself on a number of supplements, but then she put me on lots. And ultimately I was taking 28 pills a day. And for me, I was not used to taking pills, right? So I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't expect to feel any different, but truly I did give it 6 months. And even though I didn't really expect to feel anything different, I thought, well, it's not worth it. If I'm taking 28 pills a day, it's messing up my, you know, morning, making me late opening all these bottles and swallowing all these pills. You know, this is exhausting. I don't want to do it anymore. And my doctor then told me, she said, well, there is this 5 herbal blend that's proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% on average in 30 days in everyone who takes it. And she said, yes, and my husband and I both take it. This is from her. And she said, because the company actually has peer-reviewed published studies on the product, not just the ingredients. And so we were impressed. And I was like, well, I want to take that. So as soon as she told me about that, I knew that reducing oxidative stress by 40% was something nothing else I was taking was doing. And I also knew that how it did it, she explained to me, is it upregulated our own enzymes to scavenge free radicals 1,000,000 times better than any direct antioxidant that I was taking. So I just stopped taking everything else that I was taking for antioxidant or anti-inflammatory benefits, and ultimately pared down that 28 pill regimen a day to like 6 or 7. And so I would like the first slide, please. We're going to talk about that 5 herb blend. It's called Protandim. It proactively works in tandem with your own biology. And as my doctor said, it's proven to reduce oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. And when I say proven, I mean proven. The study that did this was a human clinical trial, and the results were so strong and so definite that the p-value, which is really the statistical measure of whether the results of the study were due to the fact that the intervention worked or whether they were due to chance. P-value of 0.05 is proven. It means there's a 95% chance that the results were there because the intervention worked, and only a 5% chance that it was a fluke or due to random happenstance. Well, this study had a p-value that was a lot stronger than 0.05. It was a lot stronger than 0.005. It was a lot stronger than 0.0005. It was 0.0001, which basically essentially means if you had a 10,000 person study 9,999 of them would have this result. So that's proven. The FDA allows the statement, that's the Federal Drug Administration, they allow the statement that Protandim reduces oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days in humans. And that is huge, and nothing else can do it. I love that it's natural. It's 5 herbs, most of which I was taking anyway. I had not heard of ashwagandha. I had not heard of bacopa. But I was taking turmeric, I was taking milk thistle, I was taking green tea, among all the other things I was taking. And so I was really happy to simplify my regimen, reduce the amount of money I was putting out for supplements. And ultimately, I did feel better. I was not expecting to feel better. Again, I know that oxidative stress is not something we feel any more than cellular calcium levels or sodium levels or magnesium levels are something you feel. You don't feel cancer cells dividing. You don't feel your cells dividing and replicating. You don't feel your mitochondria being recycled. You just don't feel these things. But ultimately, oxidative stress leads to inflammation, cellular malfunction, mutation, and so you ultimately feel the results of disheveled cells, malfunctioning cells. And when you fix and repair, rejuvenate, and restore cellular function to more optimal levels, then you may start to feel better, and most people do. So I'm very grateful for that. One thing, when I first started taking Protandim, I saw an ABC News report. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend strongly that you go to see it. There's a website called thelittleyellowpill.net, and the news report is there. You can watch it. It's ancient. It's from 2005. But when I saw it, at the end of it, they said studies to determine whether this could potentially extend lifespan in mammals are underway. Well, I knew absolutely, without a doubt, when I heard that statement on that news report, that the study results were going to be positive. In other words, there is no doubt in my mind that this was going to extend healthy lifespan in a mammal, because oxidative stress goes up as we age, and it's why we malfunction and mutate, and it ultimately, results in our demise. So I knew when you reduce oxidative stress, up until that point, the only thing that had been proven to reduce oxidative stress was fasting or calorie restriction. Now, if you think about it, oxidative stress is just the result of your body metabolizing the food that you eat, utilizing the oxygen that you breathe. So reducing caloric intake and, calories reduces that end result, which is oxidative stress. So it just made sense. And lo and behold, in the 2011 cohort done by the National Institute on Aging, which is a subsidiary of the National Institutes of Health, did prove, in spite of the fact it was underdosed for the first 10 months, they did not give enough. And in spite of that, whoopsie, it still extended the healthy lifespan of the median lifespan of a mouse. And of course, we don't study humans for longevity studies because we live so long that the researchers would not be around to look at the results. So if we could have the next slide, please. Okay, so what I loved when I was talking to my doctor initially about this is that she said they have real peer-reviewed published studies on this. So of course I went right to the PubMed.gov, which is where researchers and doctors and scientists go for the top tier peer-reviewed published studies. Now, any company can publish a study on a product without peer review, and that is not necessarily good science. It could be good science, but the top tier peer-reviewed science is really where they take the study, they submit it to a panel of respected top researchers on that topic, and each of them separately critiques it and returns it back to the publishing journal with requirements that the author satisfy in order for them to be, happy with the design and the setup and the results of the study. And this can happen back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And each of the independent researchers can actually add to what the other one says. So this is a process that can take years to get published. And to this date, independently, now the company published one study initially, and they published a few more, or they sponsored a few more. But of the 27 peer-reviewed published studies that are currently out there on the branded product Protandim, the patented product, not the ingredients, the branded finished product, I think 24 of them were independently funded. initiated and funded by medical schools such as Ohio State University, Harvard, University of Colorado, Virginia Commonwealth, Texas Tech, Washington State University, American Heart Association funded some studies, and of course the National Institutes of Health funded studies. So it was very important to me that I was looking at actual research that was, again, third party and independently validated. That meant a lot to me. Next slide, please. So the other thing that I loved, again, is that the basis of this product is 5 herbs that have been used in human health for centuries. Again, I was taking most of them. Bacopa increases SOD production. Green tea is a wonderful, thermogenic, increases your metabolism. It's a beautiful antioxidant. Turmeric is so anti-inflammatory. It has, if you don't have turmeric in the kitchen, you're behind the times. Milk thistle is an amazing liver detoxifier. Ashwagandha has been used in India, and it's a native plant to India. And in India, they don't have colon cancer. They just don't until the people move to the United States and adopt a Western diet, then they get it. So each of these ingredients, as I said, are beautiful, wonderful, well-researched ingredients that are vastly beneficial for mammalian health. What I love about this blend, and that's why it has 7 US patents and 6 international patents, is there's synergy of the specific parts of each of these plants in the ratio to the other specific parts of the other plants result in an 1,800% synergistic induction of these survival genes that we were talking about earlier, SOD, which is it's a free radical scavenging enzyme that's not used up in the equation. Now think about these direct antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E. You take one antioxidant molecule, I know that you can't get one molecule, but 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Each of those antioxidant vitamin C molecules will neutralize 1 free radical. And I don't care what the ORAC value, the ORAC, the oxidant reductive antioxidant capacity is of these direct antioxidants. Our bodies produce 360 septillion free radicals a day. And if you have many thousands of ORAC of your vitamin C, it's not gonna cut it, right? But what's interesting is not only is it inadequate to reduce that oxidative stress burden on our cells and the resulting inflammation, but it actually hampers the body's own innate responses. Because if you take enough vitamin C to put out that fire, guess what? That fire is there as a signal to your body to make more SOD, more catalase, more glutathione. It's signaling your body to make the good guys, which are millions of times more effective, again, than these direct antioxidants. And if you lose that signaling because you're taking just enough antioxidant, exogenous direct antioxidants to put out the fire, you're really basically shooting yourself in the foot. And there are plenty of studies that show this. Okay, you could take, for example, athletes that are trained and they're in a rigorous training program, and of course, if you do this is a very painful process, you can do muscle biopsies before and after, and you will see that the athletes after the significant training program will have more mitochondria. That's an adaptation. Your body's adapting to this incredible exercise burden that your body's saying, okay, we need to level up here. Let's make more mitochondria so we can do this exercise and do it more efficiently. You give those same athletes direct antioxidants, high dose vitamin C, vitamin E, blah, blah, blah. There is no mitochondrial upregulation. The muscle biopsy is the same before and after. Taking direct antioxidants completely negates the adaptive response to exercise and stress. So that's why activating your own genome, your own epigenetics to make the good guys is so much superior. It's the next level. It's where the world is going. It's all about epigenetics, signaling your genes to do what they're supposed to do, and just kind of tuning your genome. So next slide, please. All right. Now, we did talk about oxidative stress, and what is the big deal? Well, the big deal is it's linked to everything that goes wrong with us after age 20. I mean, you don't see these things typically in healthy children. Now, some children have been exposed environmentally in the womb or have genetic mutations that result in them having these conditions at much younger ages. But typically, macular degeneration, myocardial infarctions, diabetes typically, now type 2 especially, but now in our westernized, now you guys are over there in Europe largely, so you may have a healthier diet, but in the United States, diabetes is rising in young children. So it's a shame. But typically things like osteoarthritis and Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, lupus, cancer, those kind of things start to occur at a higher rate as we get older. And the underlying cause of that is this increasing oxidative stress and inflammation. Next slide, please. Oh, I want to go back real quick, please. I apologize. I just see the cataracts there. Incidentally, you know, radiologists, we are exposed to radiation and what some of the things that we do, or whether we're doing angiograms and barominemas and those kind of things. Fortunately, you know, we're progressing where there's less and less fluoro and more and more, you know, CT angiography and MRI angiography and things like that. But we are exposed. Well, I trained in the 90s, and there was plenty of ionizing radiation in my life. And radiologists have a higher incidence of cataracts. They have a higher incidence of thyroid carcinoma because of that exposure. So I did want to mention that. Okay, next slide. And as I said, you know, as we get older, that red bar represents the level of oxidative stress with each decade. Okay, so in our 20s, it's lowish, you know, and in our 40s, it's higher. In our 60s, our oxidative stress is higher. And as an 80-year-old, our oxidative stress is, you know, off the charts. And it's measured in this particular instance by this thing called T-bars, which is the gold standard. It's a blood test, has to be run right away because obviously you're taking the blood out of the body. It's exposed to oxygen, so it oxidizes. So it's a draw the blood, run the test, boom, boom. You can't send it out and expect it to be reliable. But that stands for thiodobutyric acid reactive substances, which is essentially the measure of your free fatty acid per oxidation. Now, this is the study that I was telling you about with the p-value of 0.0001. These wide variety of participants, ages 20 to 80, were given Protandim, 1 a day for 30 days. And their oxidative stresses all came down to the level of a 20-year-old. I mean, that's remarkable. The older you are, the more your oxidative stress is reduced. Now, I tell people to take it for a month for every decade that you have been, quote unquote, oxidizing to know fully what it's going to do for you. And I don't recommend anyone go out and get the blood test again. It's very expensive. It has to be done in an academic research center, run immediately. And it's been proven, I mean, it's proven that FDA allows the statement because the p-value is so strong. So we don't need to prove that it works in ourselves. It works in everyone that's tested. And so, but do for your own personal story, give yourself 6 months on the product. If you're in your 50s, if you're in your 70s, give yourself, you know, 7-8 months. You want to give it the full month for every decade, plus, you know, part of decade. So if you're 70, you want to give it 8 months. If you're 72, 8 months. If you're 80, you want to give it 9 months. Obviously, this is something people want to take for the rest of their lives because they never want to go back to aging and oxidizing at the rate they were. But just to know what it's going to do for you, you've got to, everybody sometimes says, I want to give it a try. I want to try it. Well, a trial is your number of decades plus 1 in months. It's not like a week or a month, okay, just so you know. So the next slide, please. All right, we actually, I love this company because the company, you know, has this amazing product with patents that does things that nothing else does. Reduces oxidative stress, increases healthy lifespan in mammals. Nothing else, no other natural product has been proven to extend healthy lifespan in the mammal. There's 5 drugs that have been proven, but resveratrol, green tea, turmeric, medium chain triglycerides, and fish oil were all tested. None of them extended healthy lifespan. So we've got this amazing product. You know, you might expect the company to sit back and rest on its laurels, but it doesn't. It actually keeps innovating. And then what this product came out a few years ago blows my mind because, again, this is a synergistic blend of 5 ingredients that I was taking back when I was taking 28 pills a day. Wasn't getting these results. What this does is it turns on, or it activates a master regulator of our body's own mitochondrial biogenesis pathway. It's called NRF1, Nuclear Respiratory Factor 1. It is going to repair and protect existing mitochondria, but the beautiful thing is it increases your body's manufacturing of new mitochondria. As we age, that oxidative stress, which is damaging lipids, fats, and proteins, is damaging the powerhouse of the cell because that's where the energy is produced. Therefore, that's where the free radicals are produced in that byproduct, the pollution, and they're unprotected. They're phospholipid membranes are right there where that exhaust is being produced, so they're damaged. They are, when they get damaged, when mitochondria get damaged to a certain point, the tipping point, the mitochondria just, goes, just augers in. It basically says, signals itself to self-destruct in a process called apoptosis. The cell takes the parts of the mitochondria, the amino acids, and recycles them and puts them into, just the circulation. And so your body, now, each of those cells has fewer mitochondria. Your brain has the most, if you're a male. If you're a female, your ovaries have the most. But your brain has the most, and then your heart. So maybe you have 2,000 or so mitochondria in each brain cell. Well, as you get older and older, it's 1,500, 1,100, 900, 800. Your brain cells are working with fewer batteries, really. I mean, so you cannot expect your brain to function as well when it has less cellular energy. Think of it, that's the cause, basically, of why we get brain fog when we get older. We just aren't quite as sharp. So when you take NRF1, you're increasing your mitochondrial production and protection and repair, along with NRF2, which is decreasing that oxidation. It's actually decreasing the future damage to your mitochondria and helping your cells repair and regenerate. So the two together, NRF2 and NRF1, are like a 1-2 punch for cellular energy and reduction of cellular stress. It's really beautiful anti-aging combination. Both of these products are banned substance control group certified for professional athletes to take, and Olympians can take it. NSF has, validates that the ingredients are what they say. Alpha-lipoic acid, again, coenzyme Q10, grape extract, quercetin, and acetyl L-carnitine. These are all individual ingredients that people take for mitochondrial support, but in this particular patent-pending formulation, the synergy is real and the results are incredible. So